obviously, I think one of the most interesting things as well for fans of that era in recent times has been your book and you sort of putting everything out on the table about that time in your life. You know, was it really important for you, Marty, to have control over the specifics of that narrative? Because I think there's been a lot of attempts at questions and a lot of attempts at people trying to figure out your relationship with Megadeth, and you've really showed grace and class over the years on not biting, so to speak, on any of that. Then you decided to put it out on your own terms. Was that very important to you to have it that way?
Yeah, thank you for noticing that again. You always notice everything, dude. I always I
I
know
try.
that you do. You're very astute. I like that. Yeah, in the book, um, my main criteria was to just put every single thing out there, but only things that are not in interviews and not on the internet. There's a lot of things that you could look up on the internet and find out. So what's the point in putting that in the book? Um, so every single thing in there is, it doesn't always make me look good. The tendency when you write a book like that is you want to like fix history and make yourself look like a hero. And I found that reading other guys' books, it wasn't that entertaining to read that. I don't need to read a resume. So I just decided, look, I'm a very private person. A lot of people say, dude, I can't get a read on you. I don't, I know you're a guitar player. Nobody really knows my private stuff, never, no one has. So like I figure an autobiography, that's the one time you can be very personal. And I just went overboard with that. I said, if I'm going to make a book, I want to make it as good as one of my records. I'm going to just lay it all completely out there. And so I shared a lot of things that are kind of embarrassing, but hopefully entertaining to read. And just like, not only with Megadeth, I mean, of course I get every little detail of day-to-day life in Megadeth, but also with the bands before that and after that, and the lesser known things and the indie days. And people will be surprised how hard it was and how crappy it was and how pathetic it was. But I find that interesting reading, being borderline homeless and all that stuff, and living with strange people and eating nothing, and all of that stuff I found more interesting than, yeah, we played at Rock in Rio, it ruled, it was great. So like all of that and how it, affects the music that was made, and how it took me 100 years to finally get an album cover that I liked from any band, and why they all suck, and I think that's hilarious. And it doesn't make me look like any kind of genius. It just kind of humanizes the whole experience. I think maybe the reason why I've always been very, very private is because I never really wanted to know much about my idols. I wanted to keep them kind of not human, just like
Mm,
immortal heroes, you know what I mean?
right.
So I kind of was always kept that away from people. And just like when I did an interview, I talked about the subject at hand, the album, the tour, whatever. But in the book, I'm talking about family, girlfriends and personal drama, and stuff that doesn't look like a rock god a lot of the time. And I just found that if there's any time to do it, it's in the autobiography, and I'm not going to do it any other time. So yeah, I got a lot of great responses from it, and but now that it's out, I'm kind of like, wow, people know all this personal stuff about me. It's kind of like, I don't know if I should have written all that, but that's the time and the place, time, place, occasion.
Right. And that was going to be my next question. Like, do you feel almost a little bit naked in a sense after having the book come out? I think people can see, their privacy, especially when being in the public eye, as sort of a shield of armor. And having that mystery surrounding you, because for example, for me, when I saw that you came out at Budokan, for example, with Megadeth, I was completely shocked when I saw that. I thought that was something that, at least from my perspective, I wouldn't have pictured you wanting to do. But then I thought about it, and that wasn't due to anything you had said. That was just due to some of the mystery surrounding it. So, I mean, how does it feel to have that element stripped away? Do you feel closer to your fans? Do you feel more vulnerable because of that?
Well, I like the mystery about everything. I mean, you're a Kiss fan, so we live and die from the mystique.
That's right.
And then when it kind of unfolds, it's like, wow, it was more fun before I knew all this stuff. But at the same time, that's what makes an autobiography juicy because you kind of are curious. So I laid all that stuff out, and no one can ever guess the real relationships between any band members from things on the internet. But when you're holding that book in your hand with the paper and it's a hardcover book and my name's on it, well, Kindle would be the same thing, but that's all the what it was absolutely like for me and every day and every experience in every band, every marriage, all that stuff. And that's the only place where you're going to get the real personal stuff. And even there's things that my family didn't even know in this book. So I just kind of like went overboard because fuck it, let's just get it out there. And this is the time. So I thought it was I'm very pleased with it. But some of the things are quite embarrassing. Like the first thing we got on the tour bus and there's there's a part in the book where I talked about how when I first discovered the ultimate way to jack off.
Right.
And that's the first thing my guitar tech dove right in on. And it's like this whole book full of all sorts of juicy information. And that's the thing. So I'm like, oh my God, maybe that's what everybody's picking up on. There's all this great musical stuff in there, but that's what they pick up on. So there's a lot of little things in there that's less like, maybe I do kind of regret saying it, but screw it. Everything's out there. And, if people know me better now, maybe they'll enjoy my music on a different level, a more human level, and that's all good.